All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Devil's Den Hockey. We are back after Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. Edmonton wins Game 4 8-1 against the Florida Panthers in arguably the biggest blowout playoff game since Vegas did the exact same thing to Florida. Was it last year or the year before that? It was one of the two. I think last year or the year before that. Anyways, Edmonton goes into this game down 3-0 in the Stanley Cup Final. And Connor McDavid and the rest of the Edmonton Oilers decide, hey, maybe it's a good idea if we start trying now. So Edmonton takes Game 4. The series is now 3-1 for Florida Panthers. Edmonton begins the very long, and I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a ride to get back into the series. Edmonton needing to win 4 games in a row here in order to win the Cup. So they have a monumental task ahead of them, and tonight they got to work. They got out to work and went, you know what? We are winning this game, and there is not going to be a force on heaven or hell that is going to stop us from winning. But yeah, honestly, guys, the Florida Panthers looks like absolute crap the entire night. There is not a single person on that roster tonight that actually played well for Florida. I don't even know if you can call what team started tonight the Florida Panthers, because this was such a 180 on everything we've come to know about the Florida Panthers, specifically in the Stanley Cup Final, okay? These Panthers tonight could not clear a puck, could not make a pass, could not get a shot to the net. I mean, they really sucked tonight, from forwards to defense to goaltending. I understand that I've been talking a lot of positive about Sergei Bobrovsky, and I still think that he has been the better goaltender in 4 games. He lets in 5 goals tonight, 5 goals on, I think, 11 or 12 shots. Almost half the shots he faced tonight went in. I'd say 2 were on him. I would really say maybe 2 of those goals were actually on him. Otherwise, his defense hung him out to dry tonight. And what's sad, the thing that makes me the most upset is that because of this game, there is no chance that Bobrovsky wins the Conn Smythe. Because you look at Game 3, you look at Game 2, you look at Game 1. 2 out of the 3 of those games, Bobrovsky almost single-handedly stole those games for Florida. And now, because he's let in 5 goals in 1 game, he's not winning the Conn Smythe. And it sucks that 1 game, despite playing supernaturally well, is going to mean he's not going to get the Conn Smythe this year if Florida ends up winning the Cup, which is still likely. Now, what does Florida and Edmonton need to do moving forward into Game 5? So we go back to Florida, so there probably won't be another game until, I think, Monday or Tuesday. I probably Tuesday because of the way the schedule has been made. What does Edmonton and Florida have to do? Well, first of all, Florida has to start Bob for Game 5. You have to put him back in net. You have to go, look, you had a bad game. We're going to get over it mentally, and you're going to start Game 5. And I want to see regular old Sergei Bobrovsky stealing games and making saves, okay? Bob has to go back in Game 5. They have to take, for the rest of the roster for Florida, they need to be sat down and went, look, last game was complete shit. It was complete shit. We are going to, again, same thing with Bob, we're going to put it behind us mentally. We're going to go, hey, game's over. We're not even going to talk about Game 4. We're going to go back to playing how we want to play as a Florida team, the way we've played all playoffs, the way we've played all year. That's what Florida has to do, and there has to be a serious wake-up call. Because if Edmonton wins the next game and this series goes to 3-2, there will start to be the seed of doubt that will be sown into the Florida Panthers' heads of, oh God, are we letting this slip away? And with a team like Edmonton, with a lot of young guys and quite frankly, a lot of veteran experience, they're going to be asking themselves, can we do this? And you don't want to give the Edmonton Oilers a iota of oxygen to get back into this. Tonight was a big game from them. But from now on, Florida has to bunker down and make sure this series does not get out of hand. In terms of what Edmonton has to do, Edmonton basically has to take the recipe for tonight's game and do it over and over and over again until they win the cup, okay? They have to come out of the gate every single game from here on outward and go, Game 4 was not a fluke. Game 4 was the beginning of a very ugly 4 games that the Florida Panthers is going to have to do. And they are going to have to scratch and claw and do everything humanly possible to make sure that previous Florida Panther team that we saw games 1, 2, 3, and all year does not reemerge. Because if it does, Edmonton is completely screwed. McDavid had a phenomenal game tonight. 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points tonight. Draisaitl had a good night. But outside of the big names for Edmonton, can we also give a little bit of a highlight to guys like Holloway, who is a right-wing second-line forward? Can we give the third line for Edmonton some credit here, who basically said, get on me back, boys, we're winning tonight's game? Third line for Edmonton played incredibly well. Penalty played incredibly well for Edmonton tonight as well. It's just Edmonton basically cannot give Florida, again, like a single bit of oxygen. Because again, if they do, Florida's gonna tear their throats out. But yeah, that's my thoughts. So we're going to Game 5. I said Florida in 6. This could very well end in Game 5, but if it doesn't, Game 6 I still think is going to be likely that Florida takes this. I think Edmonton is probably going to... I would not be shocked if Edmonton pulled out next game and then Florida went, okay, you've had your time in the limelight, now you need to go. You need to go. But yeah, so I will catch you guys for the next one. Adios.